I really enjoyed my mom and dad and little brother there and my family like sitting there for our panel. I think that was really special.
My favorite part, honestly, was meeting everybody, seeing how far some people traveled across the country.
Yeah, dude.
Literally, pulling all nighters to get there, and so grateful we got to meet them. You're listening to Studio 22.
Welcome to Studio 22. I'm your host, Will Meldman, with my co-host, Brock O'Hearn.
AKA Kane. We're back. We're live.
We're back and we're live. That's my line, dude.
I didn't know you wanted that line.
Spencer, cut, roll it back.
Run it back.
Welcome. Just kidding. Here we go. We are sitting here, as you'll see, in a new area. We're in a new area.
We've shifted.
We've shifted.
What would you say? We went about... Technically, I think we probably went about 6 feet to the south. It's actually probably more east.
East. Yeah, east.
Yeah. That's the west coast. The ocean's right there.
We had
Northeast.
a very special weekend. I can genuinely say that it exceeded all of my expectations. And, I was thinking back on that conversation we were having before, and we can get into this a little bit later. We don't have to start with this, but we were just talking about how we're looking forward to that sense of community, and with everything going on in the world, and it's going to be nice to just interact with people and meet new people and enjoy each other's company and talk about the nerdy stuff we all love. And don't you think we accomplished that? Because I really feel like we did.
Yeah, I mean, you get Comic-Con, for example, is such a cool community of people that all care, maybe not necessarily about the exact same thing, but pretty much the same thing. Like all the genre of fun comic books, TV shows, like everything in that world, anime, manga. That's the common thread that brings everyone together there, I feel. But also, it's like, I feel like when I was walking through there, it kind of felt like it was the safest place you could be, because the people are so nice. There's a bunch of nerds like us walking around, and I say that proudly with a chip on my shoulder. Everyone's doing cosplay. They're sharing things that they love. They got booths that they're, presenting things, that companies and new products, launching new comics, like there's so much diversity there. But it's all a common thread. And the fans and the people included in that, I just feel like when you say community, it feels like that. It feels like a community, It's fun. It was a lot of fun.
100%. And, we'll get into more specifics for sure, but I'm glad you felt that way too, because I kind of thought about that today as we're kind of winding down and coming off the high of the weekend. And it was a beautiful thing. It was LA Comic-Con. We owe you one, because that was really fun.
Yeah. Started Thursday with loading the trailer in, getting the booth set up. We had Friday, Saturday, Sunday of the event, and then packed up on Monday.
Thursday, we were in the car line for about 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Just to get in to drop our stuff off. And it actually wasn't even the event's fault. It was, the auto show beforehand had gone on way too long. And they were late getting out of there. So, made it a little more interesting and more of a mission that we had to accomplish as a team with Spencer. And
yeah, I think that was the day that we had the most traffic getting down there too. I think it took us like an hour and a half, hour 45. What should have been, I would say, like probably a 45-minute drive, maybe less, I think we got there in like 30 minutes one day. So almost 2 hours to get there, 2-hour line. Then we had the struggle of getting in there because no one expected us to have a giant trailer studio, which was one of my favorite parts of the show, is being able to get that in there and people seeing that, and then us recording podcasts in there. But
you were being so hard on yourself for taking 2 tries to back it in, when any normal human being would have taken 30 if they could do it at all.
No, see, here's the thing. I did it right the first time, both times. But I did it off the direction that the guy gave me, and then they're like, "You got to redo it." I'm like, "Well, then why'd that guy tell me to stay in that dang line?" Did you see? I was an inch in that white line that he told me to stay in, and I really should have been closer to the middle. But
unfortunately, I'm gonna have to agree with you. You went straight back. That was the hard part, is like going straight back, and you did that. But you're right. The guy on the other side of me was telling you that you were like, good space away from the wall, but you were.
Yeah. So, but all in all, yeah, that was my first time even back in that trailer, and there wasn't really much space given the fact that they were setting up all of Comic-Con. So there were just, forklifts and chairs, and it was just madness all over the place. But it was so fun. It was so fun getting in there and getting to see the booths for the first time. We pretty much had our own row there.
There were like 5 booths set up that you were like maneuvering it through. It was crazy.
Yeah, they were telling me to do stuff that was impossible. I was like, it's not. Yeah, what was your line to Roger that I loved more than anything? It was an optics thing or physics. It was something along those lines.
There's marketing, and then there's physics.
Yeah, and the physics didn't allow us to magically plop in the middle of the aisle. There was just so many things to maneuver around that it's not physically possible the way a trailer moves and the way you back up a truck. What do you think my truck and trailer combined equal out to? 50 feet? Probably more.
Oh, yeah.
It combined. So imagine backing something up 50 feet. It's like, it was fun though. I had fun doing it, and it looked great when we got in there. And then we got out, we got set up the next day, and we were rocking. So I think what we're saying though is it wasn't, even though it was set up and it looked amazing, it took a little bit of effort, a little bit of elbow grease to get it done on the first day.
For sure. And it's a pretty out there idea that we were playing with and accomplished, of getting a massive RV trailer in the middle of the floor on Comic-Con. So I'm proud of us for doing that. And without your expert driving skills, we wouldn't have been able to do it.
I feel like it's a skill set I learned from my uncle early on. He's one of those guys that's just good at everything, everything that like
man stuff.
Yeah, man stuff. He can just do all the man stuff, and so I just take his lead, and he taught me well. And I feel like that's something, that's a good little thing to have under your belt, a little notch to have on your belt. Drive a trailer correctly.
Yeah.
I just wish I had a backup camera. As funny as that sounds, because I feel like it's more of a, badge of honor not use one, but it's kind of nice to have one. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it definitely would have helped. And by the way, big shout out and thank you to Hayden and Klaus and the whole Comic-Con team for even letting us do that. Right?
Yeah.
Thank you guys for taking a risk on that and letting us do the trailer, because I think, the amount of people walking by and fans of Brock and, people talking to us about the comic and getting autographs, like the amount of people that commented on how unique and cool it was pretty astonishing. So that was, props to them for letting us do it, right?
Yeah. I think, it was really cool. And I think it was very clear that we were the only ones doing something like that. And it garnered so much attention that, we had other people coming up trying to get their, talent or friends or whoever it was as a guest on the podcast. If only we had more time, really was the thing, is that we were busy from start to finish every single day. And so we packed our schedules and maximized, I would say, Comic-Con. And even to the point where I feel like even you and I wanted to network even more. We networked quite a bit, and it was really great. And I think we had awesome, genuine connections with so many people. But I don't even remember having the luxury of walking around Comic-Con because of our schedule, which is a great thing.
Yeah, we were commenting that on Saturday. We're like, damn, we're not even going to have too much time to walk around and get some B-roll and meet a bunch of new people. Even though we were meeting so many new people as we were doing the things we were doing, right? But it would have been nice to have a little bit of free time to walk around the floor.
In 2024, we will have clones.
Right.
We will divide and conquer. How many do you want? How many would you want? Like 3, 4?
Clones?
Yeah. I'll take 6.
It's like 7.
Well, with me, that would be 7. So you'll have 8. There'll be 8 of you walking around.
Attack of the Clones.
One of them's just going to be getting food for us the whole time.
Food clone.
Yeah, specific jobs.
So Friday,
Yeah.
get there, trailer set up, your fans are coming up to you, people are starting to arrive. It opens late, opens at 3 p.m. We're there with Spencer. To Spencer's credit, man, he did a epic job, like getting that thing rigged. We had those cool, like, sticky things where you put them on the wall of the trailer and the cameras rest on them. Those are freaking awesome. It reminds me of that game Splinter Cell with the sticky cam.
Yeah.
You like the gun that you shoot and it sticks the camera to the wall.
I would give a little shout out to Ram Mounts for that one. They're the ones who made them.
Ram mounts.
Yeah, and I originally hit them up because I saw Steve-O. He's the only other person I've seen in any kind of mobile setup, not even a trailer, a van.
Jackass Steve-O?
Jackass Steve-O, yeah. I thought you were just calling him a jackass. I was like, no. Yes, that one. But he has those same ones in his setup, and that's where I got the idea, honestly. And then it worked out perfectly because they are solid. I mean, we were mounting some decently heavy, DSLR cameras on there with big lenses, and it stayed fine. One of them we set up a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and it never even fell off. It stayed on.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I know that.
So pretty solid, good stuff.
With all the driving too.
Yeah. So I think Ram Mounts make some good stuff if anybody wants to go that direction. Otherwise, I don't know who else does something like that.
Yeah, we'll put the link in the description for sure. And Friday ended up really becoming more of a setup day for everybody, and then a little intro, and Saturdays when things start to really take off.
Yeah, and I would say comparatively to last year when we went, I think Saturday is the big day.
Yes.
Friday, especially being a later start, I feel like maybe so many people didn't come. There was a good amount of foot traffic there for sure. There was a lot of people, but Saturday was like, I felt like everyone who bought a ticket was there at the same time.
Yeah. Visibly more crowded Saturday, right?
Massive, yeah, massively. So Saturday was a big day.
Saturday's a big day. We get there early. So we get to the trailer / the Rogue Matter booth. Quick shout out to Rogue Matter, the comic studio we partnered with for Kane, and they have a bunch of other amazing comics and amazing artists and editors and team. And we basically had our Studio 22 trailer right next to the large double Rogue Matter booth. So when we weren't, the very limited free time we had, setting up or waiting for the next thing, we would go to the Rogue Matter booth and sign comic books, sell comic books, take pictures. So we head over to Klaus and Hayden's booth. Y'all will remember Hayden Michael from our podcast. He came on and we were talking about Comic-Con with him, and we were talking about Quid with them. And we did a really fun hour-long meet and greet over there. Brock had a ton of fans coming up to him. I got to talk to some cool people about the comic book and make some really cool connections with people that can do some amazing things with graphic design and 3D stuff, and a lot more to come there. But yeah, they had this fortune teller thing where they were like, Brock, you got to try this fortune teller. So Brock goes up and...
Yeah, the guy read my fortune. What did he say? He said something. It's this comedian inside, but they have this digital render of a avatar. They all have one eye, right? But the avatar, they showed me the inside how it works. It's so crazy. It's fully. You can make it move in any direction and make it basically do all kinds of different things. And then also, a guy's sitting in there watching you. He sees everything, and then reads your fortune. And my fortune was something along the lines of starring in the first ever action comedy sitcom.
I see a sitcom in your future. Or, yeah, it's an action sitcom, the first that's ever been done.
I'm on board with that.
All right, well, good, because it will happen. The mighty Sith has spoken.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, that is actually kind of low-key a genius idea. I think of that. you have all this comedy. Imagine like I don't know if I maybe I would put it in like a Deadpool ring, you know, like
Right.
or arena or whatever you want to call it, and then you have all this crazy action in the middle of it, or even comedy in the action, you know.
MacGruber.
Yeah, or the boys kind of. I guess boys are maybe a little more serious, but still funny. MacGruber's great. But there's something there. So hopefully, if anybody's watching this and you make shows, maybe you make that show and then we go do it. Otherwise, please don't steal that from us.
I like that fortune.
Yeah. What was yours? What was your fortune?
I asked if I was going to get married,
Oh wow.
and he said yes in like 3 or 4 years. And I go, oh, okay, well, that's...
You'll get real married in 4.5 years.
Oh, that's great news.
No.
We'll see. We'll see if my mission to start a family succeeds by then. You never know.
That's a pretty awesome timeline to find. I'll be my baby will be a TV show, and yours will be getting married. You'll be having a baby while I am my baby will be being made.
Yeah.
I guess if that makes any sense.
That'd be nice.
But yeah, okay. Well, shoot, dude. Who's gonna be your best man?
We went from...
I'm not even gonna be invited. Watch.
I'm changing... No, dude. Hunter's the best man,
You know
for
I'm
sure.
joking.
I was his best man.
That's tight.
But groomsman.
Oh, dude.
Come on.
I like that.
If I can find a chick that's crazy enough to marry me, first off, like that's got to happen first and foremost.
I would say choose your words wisely on that one because there's plenty of crazy out here.
Touche. From Klaus's booth, we went back to our trailer.
Before that, we met somebody.
Oh yeah, we met Janicia. Right next to Hayden and Klaus's booth was Janicia Adams Ginyard, and she played female Cartman in the newest South Park Pandaverse special, and she's one of the Dora Milaje Black Panther female guards.
Yeah.
And she was in the Black Panther films and Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Like she was one of the main stunt women there, and I got to talk to her for like 20 minutes about working with Trey Parker and Matt Stone, which is like one of my dreams. Those guys are geniuses. They've won like 15 Tony Awards, Emmys, and they're hilarious first and foremost, but they're also highly intelligent and have found a way to remain relevant for
Decades.
basically my entire life.
Yeah.
But yeah, Janicia was great, right?
Oh, she was awesome. Yeah, I thought it was pretty funny the first time we met her. And you said, "What are you?" Because she had blue, and then she also had red and yellow. But she had the UCLA colors and the USC colors. Are you a Bruins or are you a Trojan? Like, what are you? And she's like, "I'm female Cartman," and you're like, "Oh."
That was pretty good.
Which was even better because she like looked like exactly like her character.
But you don't think to like put that together, right?
Oh yeah, you would have to know that. Yeah, that's not like, and it's a newer character too, right? So, but it made sense when you looked over at her poster and you see that character. But yeah, dude, actress, voice actor, incredible stunt woman, and just a really sweet, awesome woman all around. And so we're gonna get her on the podcast eventually. But she's cool, man. She's really cool. It was nice meeting her. Yeah,
That'd be great. To comment below if you want to talk to her about Marvel and South Park. I mean, come on.
Okay, I will. I guess I'll go comment. Now I'm definitely going to go comment in the comments on this one. Yes, and after that, we went back to
the trailer, and we spent a little bit of time again at the Rogue Matter booth, selling a few more comics and interacting with fans and talking with Clown from Slipknot, Sean Crahan, and there's a lot going on there, but he's a great guy, and his booth was right next to ours and all that, so it was just really cool, and the more stuff there. But we had our guest of honor come in, another Studio 22 veteran, Linz Hepner.
Yep, yeah, Lindsay Hepner, Linz. She goes by Linz.
Oh yeah, Linz.
Yeah.
Linz Hepner.
We love Linz.
We love Linz. She brought a very special guest, Quentin Rampage Jackson. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome blossom. And we had a fucking awesome podcast with him. It was like, it was a little different from what everyone's probably used to. The gloves were off, so to speak. And it was really fun.
Yeah. It was cool. And it was funny when he got to the trailer. He's like, are we going to fit in there? I'm like, one way to find out. Let's get in there. Yeah, it was my first time meeting him in person. We had just texted before that. And Linz is obviously a great friend with him. And we got there and had a little bit of time to kind of like break the ice and hang out and introduce to everybody. And he was just awesome. He was really funny, very open, and just like he's just him, which is a badass UFC world champion,
Who knocked out Chuck Liddell twice.
Yeah, Chuck, we love you, man. And you're also a badass. We're also gonna get Chuck. I'll hit up Chuck to come on the podcast too.
Don't you hate it though when you're like talking about sports and like I say something like that and I sound like I'm being mean to Chuck when it's like no, it's just
it's a great
sport. I'm just trying to.
It's a great career highlight for Rampage for sure. And I think I was reading up and it's I think it's something I actually forgot to ask him and I would want to get some clarification on it. But I think that he was offered to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, the UFC Hall of Fame, because of that fight, and I think he turned it down. So I wanted to get some insight in that. So we'll have to bring him back on at some point and kind of talk about that. But you heard him talk about it. He's like, it's not something that he felt good about, but it was great for his career. And it's one of those things because Chuck is just such a legend as well. But we get deep with Rampage, and we have some really interesting, hilarious, which you guys will see or you already have seen by now. Stories from him, and then great ideas too. As far as like he's a very creative dude as well.
Yeah, I think producing any type of show with him would be really fun. I definitely was not joking when he's like, "Do you want to produce a reality TV show?" I'm like, "Dude, of course, why not?
Yeah.
That'd be fun." But yeah, there were a lot of very serious moments, and then there were a lot of very funny moments, and I think that hopefully makes for a good episode, right? Because you kind of go on a journey and feel a lot of different things, but yeah, my favorite part was when he's like, you know what? I thought you guys were going to be douchebags, two good-looking dudes. I'm coming in, and you actually ended up being really cool. And I go, you know what? I appreciate that. I appreciate the honesty, and you're the man.
Yeah, he was really cool, man. I thought it was hilarious that Linz was in the background the whole time.
All right.
And so today she was laughing when I sent it to her. She was like, what the heck? I'm in the whole thing. And I'm like, what? Do you think you were hidden the whole time? She thought she was completely hidden. And I'm like, no, you're in the background, which is why I wanted to call it out in the beginning.
Yeah.
But it just makes it that much funnier. It's another unique podcast under our belt.
That's for sure.
Yeah. And then.
So thank you again, Rampage.
Yeah. And that went a couple hours. It's funny when we got out of it, which maybe we can put some footage in here, hopefully, is when we got out, there was all these people that were waiting for Rampage to come out. And a couple of them had a couple too many margaritas. But it was just funny seeing everyone interact after the fact. And, we drew a crowd with that, which was really cool. And that's, kind of what we wanted anyways with what we were doing,
Yeah.
It's a great way to meet people, meet fans, and network, and to get a unique experience that, it's not like they'd be sitting in this room with us, right? But at Comic-Con, they get to see something that they don't normally get to do. So I thought that was cool for them. It's cool for us too. It's cool to see that.
Yeah, so after that epic podcast, we went back to the Rogue Matter booth and signed more autographs, sold some more comics, and it was about that time when one of my favorite ones of your fans, Chanel Blackwell, she brought us so many cool gifts and merchandise and cookies and so many cool things. This is one of the mugs. It has Makena tanning on the beach, Kane climbing a palm tree. I remember where I was when I wrote this scene. It's the very, very beginning of issue 4 of Kane, volume 1. And it reminds me of being on vacation. And thank you, Chanel. You are honestly like so sweet. You let me borrow your iPhone charger, your portable one. You let me take it home with you and then bring it back. And thank God Brock remembered to bring it back because I would have been so mad at myself if I forgot to do that.
No, Chanel was the MVP of the weekend and had an incredibly beautifully made dress that she rocked the heck out of. And she got more photos than any other person there. Anybody I saw there, she got more photos. People just loved her everywhere she went. And
like of her. Yeah.
What was that character, Spencer? Tiana. From what?
Princess and the Frog.
Yeah, she was Tiana from Princess and the Frog.
She looked amazing.
Yeah, looked incredible. And yeah, she brought us, playing cards, which are incredibly difficult to make. These mugs are incredibly difficult to make. She was telling me a little bit about the process too. She brought, 3-4 dozen cookies that she baked for us,
Oh yeah.
And was just the sweetest all around and hung out the whole weekend. And there were a couple people we got to see over the weekend that was a lot of fun. But Chanel, shout out to Chanel for bringing all the treats and the gifts and, just being so awesome all around.
100%. And another shout out real quick to Jennifer Selman,
Yes.
Dr. Selman. She is going to be in the final issue of Kane from volume 1 from supporting one of our very first crowdfunding campaigns. So she will appear in the book. And, she was there at Comic-Con, and that was really cool to see her in person.
Yeah, Jennifer is so sweet. And it's so cool being able to include somebody in the comic book in that way. I feel like it just makes it more personal, and it makes it cool to us. Like one of our first campaigns we ever did, right? One of the people who supported us right out of the gate not only showed up to this event, right, but also invested in us, invested in the comic book, and then now they're going to be in it, right? So that's going to be there forever, and the comic book volume is we've got the full volume now, right?
Full volume's done, 100%. Makena volume 1 is done too.
Wow.
We got a lot of comics coming out soon.
Growing. Well, that pretty much, between just meeting people and then
that was Saturday.
Yeah.
That was Saturday. Sunday morning, we get there nice and early. We meet the Rogue Matter team. Quick shout out to Trent Olson, the amazing editor, fantastic human being, and total comic book nerd like us, and a master storyteller. And yeah, I just wanted to give Trent a quick shout out.
He deserves it, man. He's such a cool dude.
Yeah.
And yeah, we had a lot of fun with him over the weekend too, and just his knowledge on comic books and just everything in that realm really is just. He's one of the most. What's the right word? Prolific. I'm not gonna say. I don't know what to say. What's the right word? He's just so knowledgeable about comic book space, and his passion for it shines through, and that's why he's so great at what he does.
Oh yeah, he helped John Carpenter run his entire comic book studio, and was like a writer editor over there, and John Carpenter. He's a legend. So if you're over there in that mix, you're doing something right.
Yeah. So. And Trent, and then we've got Roger Minchef.
Roger Minchef, you rascal. You
silly goose. Shout out to Roger for, creating Rogue Matter, right? And then kind of bringing all these incredible people together. But also
he really is a great bringer together.
Connoisseur of good vibes.
Yeah.
But even him, it was his first Comic-Con, right? And
first Rogue Matter Comic-Con.
Really?
He's done with Image and all.
San Diego and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay. doing his first Comic-Con. He's gone to plenty of Comic-Cons, but Roger doing his first Comic-Con, you know, his idea, his brain, he's always coming up with different ideas, and he's a very creative guy, right? So we were sitting there talking about it, I believe on Sunday, you know, and just the amount that it's going to expand by the next year is going to be incredible. He's talking about putting a full lounge in the booth and really interacting with people, having meetings, doing this, like more interactive things, I think. So I'm excited to see what he comes up for next year. And same with us too, you know, like obviously we have the trailer, and that's going to expand too, but I think we do more as a whole, as with Kane, as Kane grows, with the trailer, and let's just keep ruminating ideas. And what do you guys think would be cool? You know, like what anybody who's watching, what do you guys think would be cool to experience at a Comic-Con? That's what makes it all worth it, is when you get to meet everybody and hang out and kind of just have fun there.
Yeah, let us know in the comments, like Brock is saying, any fun ideas to have at a booth or at a setup or, you know, merchandise, whatever it is. But yeah, big shout out to Rogue and Amy, obviously, with marketing. Casey, our photographer, he's so talented. Defy Focus Photography, that's his Instagram. We'll put it in the thing. He's amazing. Obviously, we've mentioned Spencer ad nauseum, so I won't give Spencer another shout out. But shout out Spence Deasy. And no, seriously, huge thank you to Spencer. I'm not even going to be a smartass there, because you know, without Spence, we wouldn't have been able to do what we did. And
yep.
And
it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, you know.
Love you guys too.
I'm not going to go that far, but but no, setting up and getting everything ready and make sure we got all the cables, making sure we got power supply. Oh wait, I did that.
Oh, Brock just wants the credit now.
Gosh.
Brock just wants the credit.
No, Spencer, you did a great job, man. And that's the whole thing. It takes a team, man, and we have a really cool team that we've been able to kind of do this thing for quite some time now. We're only really warming up more than anything.
I think the signs of a healthy team is being able to give each other shit, because if you don't do that, then you just won't make it.
Oh, that's healthy. Oh, then let's get this going, dude. Spencer, can I pull out this list really quick with you?
All right, yeah, tell me.
But then speaking of the podcast, right, and Spencer coming in and rocking it, we had our youngest guest to date.
Brock's twin brother, Connor Esterson, star of Spy Kids Armageddon on Netflix.
Hilarious kid, extremely talented, 10 years old. You can tell from the podcast we did with him, he's very intelligent, he's very talented, huge fan of anime, right? Loves One Piece.
We were talking about One Piece for a while, yeah.
And if you'll see in the episode too, he's like, not even the live action, he loves the actual anime. He's 700 episodes plus in,
which is fan.
Which is really cool. But just a really, really good kid, you could tell, and he's got a really bright future. And it was cool to have him on, and you know, it's nice to see who's going to replace me in the future. But oh no, he's a really good dude. So we were honored to have him on, and it was fun to see somebody so young and talented, and have such a great career so early on, and like how he interacts with people, right? What his interests are, and he's still a kid, you know. He's like enjoying childhood.
He's my little brother's age.
Yeah, and he, it's cool, man. It's really cool to see, and I hope he found that toy he was looking for. He wanted to find the biggest toy in Comic-Con, right?
100%, dude. Well said, and I totally agree with you on everything. And you know, big thank you to Connor out there if you're listening, bud. You're gonna crush it, and you know, work hard in school. Listen to your parents. You have great parents and a good team and a brother that loves you. So keep it going, bud.
And then we moved on. This Sunday was I would say our schedule-wise our busiest day. So then right after that, we moved on to the panel with Rogue Matter.
So we're walking to the panel, and wouldn't you know it, Frodo Baggins and Samwise Gamgee are in our seats. and we have to wait for them to finish in order to go in.
Mm.
And I go, you know what? You did save all of Middle Earth from certain death. So we could wait 5 minutes for you.
That's awesome. It's funny you said that because I actually didn't know that.
That they saved Middle Earth?
No, I know they saved Middle Earth. I didn't know they were in there.
Oh, you didn't?
I didn't see them.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Yeah, like I knew we were waiting because there was a panel, but I didn't see them in there.
Yeah, dude. It was like
that's
literally
awesome.
just the hobbits.
Oh, that's amazing. I saw them on stage.
Oh, the main
stage. Yeah, but I didn't know they were in there. Oh, that's crazy. That's so cool.
For sure.
I would have rushed the stage and gone. No, I was kidding.
No, I know,
Gotten
right?
autographs.
Like,
No, they are what a bunch. I heard as a whole, like that their group are just hilarious together. But crazy talented dudes and a part of one of the biggest and best franchises known to man, Lord of the Rings.
indubitably.
Indubitably. Yeah, that's cool. Well, we had the panel right after.
We had the great panel right after.
Yeah.
We Deidre and Mike were the moderators, and we were with Donovan Carter, who played Vernon on Ballers.
Yep.
We were with Sherwin, who is a writer-director of the show Lucifer.
Multiple shows. Yeah, Lucifer is a great one.
And then Chris, can't forget Chris.
Chris
who,
is awesome.
Who, by the way, has had an amazing career in production. And, you know, what really struck me was his story about just, you know, couch surfing from friend to friend and just never losing sight of the goal and then finally getting that big break and then working his tail off to get it done. And
Yeah.
it was really cool to see because, you know, we work with all of them, but you don't really get a chance to deep dive like conversations in the office every day, right? So getting a chance to hear, you know, Donovan's story, Sherwin's story, Deidre's story about becoming a best-selling author with her book The Watchers, and
She hit Amazon's bestseller list that night, with not only one but two of her books at the same time. So during Comic-Con, while we're sitting on that panel, was her first day in Amazon's top seller list for two of her books simultaneously. Amazing. And she's
big shout out Deidre.
yeah, her franchise, her book franchise that she wrote, I think she has 7-8 books with The Watchers.
Yeah,
Incredibly fascinating. And we've talked about this briefly. I remember when we had Anna on, but personality wise, I am an INFJ and she is too. So we were geeking out over that because it's like a rare personality type, right? But it made me more intrigued when I started listening to the way she thinks and then the way she writes and how she's writing these characters and interjecting that in a way into her story.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so like I'm excited to read the whole franchise. I have her book here now, and we're gonna dive into that too. But meeting so many people, man, and we have a good crew. You know, like we have a good crew with Rogue Matters and a lot of creatives and people who have, you know, done some cool stuff. Even everything you shared, man, with how you've made it in Hollywood or you're making it in Hollywood, right? And you know where you started as a PA and even at film school, you know, like but you knew since early on this is the path you want to go, and now you're sitting here. Not only creating films, but creating comic books and creating, you know, universes. And did you ever see your path, your career going that way?
Well, it's interesting, man. Like, you know, obviously I always wanted to be a producer, and I never thought writing would be a part of it. But the way I explained it was that I have a traditional path because the way I look at it is like I literally started kind of at the bottom as a PA and worked my way up to be a producer over like a 15-year span. But Roger kind of took me aside after. He's like, dude, your path isn't traditional at all. He's like, at one point there was nothing and then you made something. And like, that's not traditional. And I was thinking about it and I'm like, well, can you like say that for everybody? Like, or anybody who creates? But I was just trying to think about what he said and think about what I've done. I don't know. I kind of have to think about it a little bit more, but all I know is, you know, I'm grateful for everyone that I've ever worked with and anyone that's been on the path with me along the way. You do nothing yourself in life, and it's all about who you surround yourself with and who you find motivating and who you can motivate. 100%. And now I'm selling my second movie and have huge developments on my third movie. So I'm going to basically go from like one film to film 3 in a matter of like weeks from now.
Yeah. And that's what I've always heard is like, you get your feet wet on the first film you do. Right. And then the second one, you go in a little bit deeper, a little bit more. You're a little more invested in it to a different degree because you've learned a lot from the first one. And then the third one, you go all in. And that's what I've heard. And it's funny because I feel like you're doing that organically. Just as, a natural progression of your career. And also from everything you learned over the years, right? Because it's not like you just did one film and then that was it and then you moved on. It's you've engulfed yourself in the industry in multiple different ways. And now as a writer as well, it's even more in depth. But so I think it's like you're doubling down, as they say.
It always applies.
Always. I think that's one of the best names, dude. Ever since I first heard it, I was like, damn.
Thank you.
Names are so hard to come up with. And I'm like, double down.
It's you know this, but it's for Jerry Weintraub, who was my biggest mentor for sure.
Yeah,
loved
so
him,
cool.
Uncle Jerry.
That's so cool, man.
What about you? What was your favorite part of the panel? Did you like find what you shared to be, helpful or interesting, or were you kind of just like, no, this is my path, and I just shared it?
Well, I didn't really, I know, because I feel like the way that we were pitched doing the panel was different than how we did it. So I kind of went in, even with that, it's much like acting, I would say, in the sense of, and it's very different than acting, but in the sense of actors react. That's what can make a very great actor is your ability to react to something. And making it authentic and real. And so when they started asking questions, I didn't know what was coming next, but I was just there. And at first I started off like, dude, I hate public speaking. I hate being in front of I don't want to say hate, maybe that's not the right word, but it's something that I haven't. I mean, I'm like introverted, dude, and I never do it. And it's not something like I can put on a camera, put on a show, and I can become a character. That's not me. That's the character. I can do whatever the heck I want. When it's me, I'm like, ugh. So it made, from the first time I opened my mouth on the panel to the last time, I was incredibly more comfortable. So I like it in that sense because I want to get good at public speaking. That's like something I want to work on and develop as a skill set, because it's a very great one to have, I think, especially, like imagine one day I get a big award for something. I'm not saying that's ever going to happen, but if it does, I would love to be able to give a good speech, confidently. But as far as like sharing stuff, I think everyone shared really unique stuff. Chris, I think, was very open and vulnerable. Sherwin shared some really cool, his path about giving himself a deadline. And that deadline actually is what moved the needle for him as a career path, in his career path to make things happen. Deidre as well. And Donovan too, he cut from the Raiders, his path of not really knowing where he was going to go next. And then turning it organically into film and TV, but still having to go through the process of auditioning over and over and over again. But there's a linear path between all of us, even with you that you share too. It's like, you have to not give up on it. You got to believe in yourself and you got to put in the work to do it. And
that was a common thread, right?
Yeah. One of the things that I wish I shared on that panel is a quote I heard from my mentor, one of my mentors a long time ago, was, it's hard to get to the top. It's even harder to stay there. And when I think about that, I'm like, it's hard for everybody to get there. It's hard for everyone to make their dream come true. It's not like it just gets handed to you. Some people get lucky and they hit waves and stuff, but they're still working. And then to get there and to stay relevant and to stay on top of your game and to get better at the same time, like you really have to put some effort in, and that's kind of why they say, the people at the top are some of the strongest people you're going to meet in Hollywood specifically, I feel, because they've been through so much and the high level rejection, and it's a if the whole world's looking at you, things become a little more sensitive, right? So
yeah, a lot of people depending on you for their jobs, depending on you for their families. You have to manage all of what's going on a production and make sure everyone's getting taken care of and paid. And everything's on time, and you got to carry that with you for sure. But I love what you said there, that common thread of not giving up. I think that's really true.
Yeah. Who was it?
Oh, and Trent, like,
Oh yeah.
him sharing about how, his sisters were starring on Full House when they were kids, and, obviously Elizabeth being Scarlet Witch now, and how that's affected him being such a passionate comic book fan and such a good writer and all that. I thought that was cool. Trent, I never really talk about that with Trent. I talk to him probably 4 or 5 hours a week over the phone or on Zoom talking about our Kane stories and, work. But, it was cool to hear him kind of open up about that a little bit.
Yeah, it was really cool. And I think that was that whole panel, everyone kind of opened up and got a little bit vulnerable. And I think that's what made it cool. That's what made it unique. And that's what I enjoyed about it too, And then seeing your little brother, dude, out there in the crowd, like your dad and your mom showed up, and we had RJ from Price.com, who we had on the podcast as well.
Anna, that Star Wars girl.
Yep.
She was there. Shout out Anna. Joe Homake and Danica, the comic book girl 19.
Yep. Which was really cool. And then they had the panel right after, right? But
yep.
Right before we get to that, your brother being there.
Yep.
I can imagine being in his shoes to a degree. I don't think they'd fit very well. But being in his shoes and seeing your older brother doing what he loves, doing something he's passionate and building a dream, right? And he's watching it in real time, and he gets to experience, he gets to see you doing these things at Comic-Con, and, being on a panel with people, and like that, those are things to me that are like become core memories that he gets to hold on to as his life develops and as he develops as a young man. And I think all those things are inspiring and like very, very cool. And even your dad too, man, your dad getting to see that. It's like, and your mom as well, like everyone, they're supporting you. And it's really cool to see that, family dynamic and what you're doing. Like you're really on your path, man. So that's my hat's off to you.
That was a great panel. Thank you for saying that. So we ran down to get food with RJ and them, and we went to our friend's panel, Anna, that Star Wars girl, and Danica, comic book girl 19, XIX. She was on a panel, they were both on with Chris Gore from Film Threat and Gary from Nerdrotic, and they kind of had like the title of it was Why 99% of Hollywood Films Are Garbage, or modern films, one of the two. And it was kind of funny, to hear a topic like that, right? Like sometimes to hear people pick things apart can be entertaining, and it was entertaining. I think like you don't have to agree with everything, but they're funny. They're great entertainers. They do it for a living. They're all very famous YouTubers. And Danica was in our horror film, The Resort. That she had a really cool role in that, and it was really fun working with her on our movie. And yeah, we've seen Gary and Chris Gore like 3 Comic-Cons in a row, because I saw him at San Diego. We saw him last year.
Mm-hmm.
And then we saw him this year. I think Gary went from like 300,000 subs to almost 1 million in like the last year or two.
Dope. That's really good growth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. Yeah, I think it was. It's interesting listening to people's perspectives on things, right? Like whether you agree with it or not, I think it's interesting because you get to hear a different line, and I think they're coming from a very much like fans of film, fans of TV, and I think that from everything they were saying that they're not necessarily happy, which is kind of why the title makes sense, right? Not happy with the types of films that are being made. And I think we've had that discussion before of, you got to listen to the fans. You got to listen to the people that actually watch your shows, and you got to make, to a degree. I mean, I think as an artist, you should make whatever art you want, right? But if you're working on these franchise films or you're developing it, you have a big, it's not like a one-off, that indie film that you're passionate about, you want to go make. If you have a corporation and you're making these things, you should listen to the fans, you know, and you should give the fans what they want. And then that way you keep the fans, and then you grow more fans, and then you build that fan base. You know, it's like it's the same thing that I did early on, much different, but same thing I did with social media is I kept feeding into what was working,
Right.
so that I could grow that fan base. Otherwise I would have just, it would have fizzled out. It wouldn't have gone anywhere, right? My career wouldn't be where I'm at right now. I wouldn't be sitting in this seat. But it's because, you know, you listen to people and you take the information, but also still, you know, doing your thing. But yeah, to hear that from them, and I think a lot of people, obviously, if, you know, they got big fan bases, right? Agree with them. So
Right.
I think we sit on the side of also as fans of film and TV, but creatives in the sense that like I want to make film and TV for the rest of my life. So I listen to things like that. And I'm like, oh, that's what they don't like about that. Okay, that's good to know. Moving forward with things I create, you know, like
Yeah.
and make things for, you know, because you love it.
Totally. And I'm not gonna talk about it much more. I think you did a great job of explaining that. But it's essentially like, can you name one other business where you don't listen to the customer and go as far as like telling the customer they're wrong and like being like, well, you know, we don't really care what the fans think, you know?
Yeah, I think you got a point. It's if you're, I mean, definitely not any like product type company, right? Because they would only want to innovate to make it better for the customer, I think.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, you have a point with that for sure.
But anyway,
Yeah. After that,
we went to our booth again and signed more comics, took more pictures. And then we had our main stage announcement, which was really, really fun and really cool. It was the main stage of LA Comic-Con. We're up there, massive crowd. Everyone's, Will, take your shirt off, take your shirt off. And we have the microphones. We step up. We start talking about the comic books and Kane and all that. And I'm getting everyone pumped up, talking about being in the heart of Hollywood, the heart of LA, being right next to where the Lakers play.
yeah, man, the hype man.
I was the hype man, and then I'm like, give it up for my man, Brock O'Hurd, woo! And
I came in like a
bat out of hell.
like a bat out of hell, and I just I blacked out. I think I told everyone they're beautiful and I love them, and then to watch our awesome trailer, something like that.
No, yeah, I mean it's kind of close. You gave the cosplayers a big shout out because the cosplayers did show out.
Oh yeah, I mean you don't have Comic-Con without cosplayers, and the amount of effort and energy that goes into some of these people are creating themselves. Some of them are just buying a Spider-Man outfit off of Amazon or something. I don't know where they're getting it from. Some of them are making these for years over time, 3D printing some of this stuff, and it's like, man, you see this and it's like the amount of energy and effort that goes into that is just phenomenal. And then to have the confidence and the courage to walk around in that stuff, you know, and to be in an environment where everyone's doing it and they're all enjoying it as well. It's like, it's just cool to see that ecosystem. It's like Comic-Con LA is really, truly its own ecosystem. And then you get to be engulfed in all of these worlds, you know, everything from, you know, animes like One Piece to Pokemon to Spider-Man and like everything in between you could possibly imagine. But and people are creating on every level too. That's the cool thing. It's like it's a giant trade show, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So you're seeing people at the beginning levels and then the highest levels and everything in between. So it's just like if you are a fan of anything in that realm, it's worth checking out at least once in your life, you know, and even getting involved in too, if that's something that you're working in the space or want to develop in the space, or even just coming in as a fan too. But yeah, a lot of really cool stuff. And I think it was, all I can say is, you know, we did Comic-Con last year and we got our feet wet. We got to experience a little bit of it, right? And then this year we like dove in deep and had an incredible experience. I think it was a very big success. We met a lot of great people, checked off everything that we wanted to do going in, right? And only for us to line up for even better next year, I think.
Well said, for sure. I really enjoyed our collector edition issue ones of Kane, we have a few left, and they're not for sale, so we're going to have to figure out what to do with them. We might do some fun giveaways. Maybe we'll do a giveaway right now, actually.
Let's do a giveaway. That's a great idea.
We have some collector edition, issue 1, special edition Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Comics to give away. So, if you go to our Kane Comic Universe Instagram page, which will be linked in this description, go to the post that is about this giveaway. You'll see it. Tag 3 people, any people you want, in the post regarding the giveaway. You'll see the black cover for the special edition. And repost it to your story. That's all you got to do. And then you enter to win a chance.
Yeah. So pop on, tag 3 people, and repost your story.
And you'll get a signed copy of the LA Comic-Con black cover special edition.
Do you have a favorite part of the weekend?
I mean, it's tough because I really enjoyed, like, you know, my mom and dad and little brother there and my family, like, sitting there for our panel. I think that was really special, sitting right next to you and, like, both of us being able to share our stories together with my family right there, you know, who considers you like my brother too.
The 4th Meldman.
100%.
Or 5th or 6th. There's something like that.
Yeah, Ricky Fowler
Yeah.
and you and Travis and Scotty.
Okay, I'm like 10th, 12th, whatever. At least I'm one. I'm one in the family.
But that was like just a really special moment. But then, like, you know, meeting everybody, and it was full of special moments. I'm not even going to pick one because it was full of them.
Yeah, the whole event was special and unique in its own right. We've been looking forward to it all year, you know. And I would say similar to what you said. I mean, obviously my family wasn't there. What the heck, family? What the heck, guys? You know, all you had to do was be there. No, I'm just kidding. My favorite part, honestly, was meeting everybody. Meeting, you know, seeing how far some people, you know, traveled across the country.
Yeah, dude.
Literally, you know, pulling all-nighters to get there, and so grateful we got to meet them, see them. Sometimes there was days where I was gonna leave early, like Friday, for example, and then because we stayed, met people that were only there on Friday, you know?
Right.
So things like that kept working out, and I felt like we met a lot of people. I don't know how many we missed. Took a ton of photos, signed a bunch of copies, got a bunch of copies out there of the comic book, and but all in all, just had fun. And I think, you know, without having fans there, supporters, friends, some of those are sometimes all one and the same. It doesn't make it that we don't have that without that, you know? And I think people going out of their way to come support us and show up is just like, that means everything to me, you know? And I've had that conversations with people too. I had that conversation at Comic-Con, you know, like, so many times people will meet people, like fans of people will meet the people that they're fans of. It's a little tongue twister, almost feels like, but they'll be jerks, you know, and it ruins that moment, that, you know, that fandom. It ruins those moments, and then it robs them of that. And I try to explain it to people is like, even if you're having a bad day, put on that face, you know, if you have to, if that's what you have to do. Some people are I'm genuinely excited to meet people, and I genuinely love connecting with people and hearing their stories and hearing where they come from and where they first heard of me, why they're there supporting me, whatever it may be. And, like, if you can make somebody's day, and if they're going out of their way to do that, you know, I know as it gets bigger and bigger, more people, it gets harder to do and make it more personal. But if you can take that time out of your day or your moment, you know, which is the whole reason of us being there, I think it makes all the difference to somebody. And I think to never take that for granted, you know, and that's kind of where I'm coming from, in the sense that anybody who showed up, whether it was one person or 100,000, I think it's the coolest thing in the world. And that's what makes all of this possible with Comic-Con in general, or anything into that matter that's in the entertainment space. Is like, if you don't have fans, then you don't have a career, you know?
Yeah, man. Well said. 100%. And it's amazing to see. And I can definitely feel that. To be able to premiere an animated trailer that I wrote and worked on for 3 months, and you came in and we recorded together for it, and putting all that time and effort into that thing to bring our comic book to life. I mean, that was really special too.
I second that for sure.
It's funny because it's like, we've worked on movies that are super long, or even short films are 20 minutes, and this was like a little 60-second trailer, but it was like bringing the fictional world that I've written to life. And like, I've always been a producer, I've never been a writer, so like that was the first thing other than just art that I've seen of mine come to life in terms of writing, right? So like that was definitely a special moment too, and like put a ton of work into that. You did too, and that was really freaking cool. And I think I'm going to be chasing that feeling for the rest of my life and writing a lot more stuff to appear in video format. And yeah, the trailer's live on our Instagram, on the Studio 22 podcast Instagram, and the Kane Comic Universe Instagram. And there's going to be a whole lot more of that stuff coming. So, way more to come.
Yeah, I agree with you on that too. Like, I think that was so cool to see people's reactions live, the first time ever experiencing it. And it was funny because looking in the crowd as we're watching it, I saw people, as soon as it started playing, just kind of like gravitate in, and the crowd just grew bigger and bigger and bigger in a short amount of time. 60 seconds, right? But it really gathered some attention. Anybody that's seen it since, that I've actually got to interact with, has said amazing things. And I agree with you. Like, the first thing that we fell in love with the comic book was like taking this idea and not having to wait 3 years for it to be developed into a film. You have this comic book, and so we have art, visual medium art, almost way quicker, readily available. But then when you see it in a video format, an animated format, it just takes it to that next level, right? And then imagine the feeling when it's a full-length show, or imagine the feeling when it's a live-action pilot or whatever it may be. It just kind of keeps growing. So it's like you're saying, chasing that feeling. I'm with you on that one, and that's why we do what we do and why we're here, right? So we're gonna keep it rocking.
And once again, like, huge thank you to Lineage Digital and Alana Rodriguez over there, and Blake Armstrong and the rest of the team. They brought that thing to life in a matter of, a month or two. And they worked super hard on it. And thank you guys. And thank you to Anthony Rodriguez as well over at Lineage, and the whole team at Rogue. And Roger, you put together a great team, and we love working with everyone over there.
Heck yeah. And just for reference, the fact that they got it done as quick as they did and on time, it only pays more homage to their ability and their skill set and how professional they are, because something like that very easily could go over and take way longer, and they got it done and handled. And that is like, those are the type of people that you want to work with and hire or partner with or whatever it may be. And they did an incredible job at the same time. Like, and everyone's equally as fired up. That's what you want to, like when you're working with someone, if they're just as excited as you are, you're in good company.
100%.
All right.
Don't forget to participate in the giveaway. Go to the Kane Comic Universe Instagram, the giveaway post, tag 3 friends, repost on your story, chance to win special edition issue 1 collectors.
And now, for your viewing pleasure.
No. The Godzilla.
Yeah. See you when we see you.
Gods gamble with the lives of their creations, watching the chaos safely from the heavens. I come from a family bloodline blessed and cursed alike. A family tree that dates back to the gods themselves. Little did I know, a punishment for tricking a god would be the birth of a race to haunt the world for centuries. There have been generations of humans with enhanced abilities, family lines vested with extraordinary power that can alter the course of human history. These humans, my family, are the world's only protection against the beasts who seek to destroy us, make us bend the knee. I don't bend the knee!